As I lay on my bathroom floor in the fetal position, nursing wounds inflicted by the man that I love, with that first love, oh, you know, that first love, I ask myself the question, how did I, a church girl, an A student, a good girl, find myself in an abusive relationship? After what feels like forever, I managed to scrape myself off the floor. I decide to leave because I know that if I don't leave, I'm going to find myself in this fetal position over and over and over again. So I pack my bags, I find myself a one-bedroom apartment, and I leave, and I do not look back. Now, this is where I probably should have found myself in a therapist's chair. But instead, I immerse myself in work at McKinsey and Company. And this is in the winter of 2002, and I'm 23 years old. In 2003, I hit or walked straight into another life-defining moment at McKinsey and Company. I resigned and call my mum November 2003 and say, Mums, I've decided to leave McKinsey and start my own business. And for her, McKinsey was the be-all and end-all. I was supposed to call her and say, I've met a man and I'm going to get married and have babies. Instead, I call her and say, I'm diving headfirst into the entrepreneurial space. McKinsey had given me the space to ask myself some crucial questions. What did I want? Not what did society want, not what the church wanted, not what my family wanted, but what did I want? And this existential crisis unleashed a deep passion for the continent and its people. And so, December 2003, I decide I'm going to take a well-deserved break, and I launch my first business in my mother's lounge with little to no resources. Actually, it was 200 Rand and a laptop, because I'd used what I got paid out by McKinsey to pay off all my debt. And so when I say my mother's lounge, I don't want you to think about a mansion in Bryanston. This is a 2-bedroom apartment, and there's 8 of us living in this apartment. So super humble beginnings. But I grow Afrofusion from those very humble beginnings in my mother's lounge with 200 Rand and a laptop to offices in Rivonia. We start creating jobs. I make my first million. And I even have a feature on CNBC Africa. The stuff that dreams are made of for a 26, 27-year-old girl from very humble beginnings. In 2008, I decide to scale Afrofusion through an acquisition strategy. I am audacious enough at 28 at the time to think that I could acquire a larger, more established ad agency as part of our growth strategy. But the deal fails dismally, and I'm faced with my first big blunder. This big blunder would teach me and leave an indelible beauty mark that will always remind me that scaling prematurely can devastate you as the founder, especially if you have unattended wounds. And so there I am, I find myself again on the bathroom floor, attending to emotional wounds from my first big blunder. And this time, the wound is inflicted by a different kind of love, a love for the startup life. In 2010, I go in and I enjoy the World Cup. Man, I went in. And I enjoy the World Cup, so much so that I decide to grab the opportunity to work with a client in Uganda. Not only is the deal super lucrative, but it also opens up my life, my world, to a brand new space. When I travel to Kenya, I travel to Tanzania, I go to Burundi, yes, to Bujumbura in Burundi. I travel to Dubai and India. And this season in my entrepreneurial journey leads me to doing things that I never thought I'd do, like get a tattoo of the continent on my back. And that was my commitment for the rest of my life, to play my part to ensure financial inclusion for African women from Cape to Cairo. An amazing opportunity. However, the contract in Uganda wraps while the Joburg office is severely hemorrhaging. And this hemorrhage is caused by me not implementing systems and processes to insulate the business while I was away. And so this next big blunder would leave another beauty mark, a lesson and a reminder that it's important to insulate your business through processes, through systems, especially as you start scaling, especially as you start expanding. So there I am again, on the floor, on that all familiar bathroom floor, nursing emotional wounds. And you would think that at this point, surely I'd find myself in a therapist's chair, right? But no, founders are way too busy for therapy, or so I thought at the time. In 2015, I decide that it's time to really take Afrofusion to that next level. And so again, I take an audacious step to scale. However, that very audacious step would lead to the liquidation of my first beloved business. I cry my ugly cry over the 12 years that I'd invested in this business. I lose sleep and my hair over this blood, the sweat, and the tears. But this time, this blunder would be the catalyst that would lead to deep healing. Healing that should have happened when I found myself on that all-familiar floor in 2003. And in 2003, my thought was, church girls don't do therapy. In 2010, my thought was, founders don't do therapy. We're far too busy. And so today, after many failures, after many mistakes, dismal, devastating failures, I am now a member of the Theology and Therapy Brigade. So after liquidating my first business in 2015, I took an extended period of time just to reflect on my journey. And that deep reflection would lead me again to understand just how nuanced the female founder journey really is. Guys in the room, you have no idea. And so over that 12-year period, I'd never really taken the time out to understand that, yes, I can go and board a flight to Uganda, but when I get there, I walk straight into misogyny, which a guy would never have to face, right? And so it's this deep introspection that would then lead me to launch my next business, the 88 Business Collective. And you're probably wondering why 88? Biblically, the number 8 represents a new beginning. And so the first 8 represents a new beginning post-liquidation for me. And the second 8 would represent a new beginning for all of the female founders that would come through our program. And like I've said, after many failures, after many mistakes, I now am a true believer in coaching, in therapy, and in counseling. So I want to challenge all of the founders in the room today to examine yourself and ask yourself the crucial question: Is my startup stagnant because of the economy? Is it really stagnant because of the small pool of investors that we have in South Africa? Or am I getting in my own way? I'd love for you to examine whether or not you are the person that's actually holding up your own growth, because I was. And I was for a very long time. I cannot help but think about what could have been had I found myself in a therapist's chair at the age of 23. I think I'd probably be a billionaire. And sorry to say this, Rosh, I wouldn't be in this room right now. So I really want to challenge you, because there's one thing that I know without a shadow of doubt, that unresolved trauma and personal issues will get in the way of you scaling your business and really becoming everything that you are meant to be. Not only have I experienced this for myself, but through the 88 Business Collective and other platforms, I've worked with founders. And I've had the privilege of having a front row seat at them believing in or buying into a belief system that holds them back. A belief system that says, I'm unworthy. A belief system that says, I do not deserve the success that I'm having. A belief system that says, this is going to fail just like everything else in your life. So I want to encourage you today to face yourself, to hold up that mirror, and to start slaying those giants, start slaying those monsters in your own life that could be holding you back. So I can sit here today, 19 years later, from that girl that left McKinsey and Company, and I can say to you without a shadow of doubt that yes, I am incredibly grateful to God for an amazing journey. I am grateful for the millions. I'm thankful for the impact. I have seen countries. I have built in different currencies. I still have friends across the world. But there's one thing that I keep wondering. Where would I be had I found myself in a therapist's chair at the age of 23? So let me leave you with this. Are you getting in your own way? Thank you.